Hello, it's the.
I don't even want to do that. Shut the heck up. Hello, it's Jeff Nerdtone. Today we're talking about Atlanta. I got Chico Thomas here with me. I'm not even looking at the camera because you did that. I'm looking at this tablet. I got a Kindle for.
George.
How's it going, Chico?
It's going, man. It's another day in paradise. Another day in Hell's Kitchen. You know?
Oh heck yeah! Don't even get me started. Uh, so we're going to be talking Atlanta, and we're going to try to get. We're going to be brisk. Not just to try to save recording time,
But have some good analysis in there.
Yeah.
Man.
And so what I've got here is the Wikipedia page of the first season, and yeah, like breaks down every episode and has a little loose synopsis. So I'm basically gonna do it like that. But first, we're gonna start with introductions here. When was the first time you even heard about and wanted to, like, what got you into Atlanta?
I think it was because I watched a lot of FX shows and I knew Childish Gambino, the artist. And I really don't even remember the first, like, because I've seen over the years, because I even before we told you we was going to do this, I, like, went back to start watching season one. So this is probably, like, my fourth or fifth time rewatching season one. And every time it gets better and better. It's like, man, Gambino, he's like, I don't know how much into writing the script or how much of a part he's played besides acting, like behind the scenes, if he writes the script and everything. I know the director and stuff. I see Hero Morai a lot, but yeah, like Gambino was very nice. I like to give him his flowers because, man, I even watched the other day. I watched the first episode again. I was like, wow, well, they was talking about some crazy shit like deja vu and everything. But yeah, it's just greatness all around. I appreciate greatness.
So here's the thing. So that's oh my goodness. I remember when I watched the very first episode, and it kind of did blow my mind because it was nothing like I was expecting.
Yeah.
So, like, I knew Donald Glover from particularly Community, the TV show. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was, like, my favorite part of that show because he's just funny. And then I watched a couple of his stand-up specials. He had two, Weirdo and just some Comedy Central one, I think. And those made me a big fan. And I didn't really hear about him again after that until, and this is going to be a little bit of a tangent, but there was a point after the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies that they were trying to get Spider-Man, a new Spider-Man. And it was before Andrew Garfield, but it ultimately ended up being Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
But that started the whole controversy about, like, oh, could Spider-Man be black and all that jazz.
Yep.
And that was because Donald Glover was like, I mean, I would love to be Spider-Man.
Right.
And that whole thing happened, and that ultimately led to Miles Morales, etc., whatever.
Yeah, I was going to say, he came up eventually as the Miles Morales character, so...
Yeah. And that's how that even happened. It was because of all the things that went down with Donald Glover. He didn't create Miles Morales, but the comic creator of Miles Morales was heavily inspired by that entire situation.
Hey, so, do you remember the year the first season came out? What year it was? Because if you tell me the year, then I can remember what I was doing at that time.
So it was 2016, and I was eating Pizza Hut in my dorm. I remember that much.
2016. Was it summer 2016?
September. It was the fall. Like I said, I was in my dorm. I was at SAU for sure.
Yeah, I finished basic training. I was in some kind of school. So I was So I don't think I've seen it. I watched it when I came back. I started watching it when I came back that around December because I was back home for Christmas break, whatever, and I was gonna be going back to SAU that next semester for spring. So yep. Now it's coming back to me. Yep.
Man, but there's another thing here. So anytime there's a kind of big public kind of like, I don't know, kind of negative thing, like, even though, like, I don't know if the Spider-Man stuff hurt Donald Glover, his career or anything, but maybe it might have hurt him personally in a sense. Like, maybe he wanted to, like, have more control over it. How you were talking about, whether or not he wrote and all of it. Like, this is his show. Yeah. He is, like, the showrunner of the show completely.
Yeah, I figured. It'll be the case.
And even in this stupid Wikipedia article, it was talking about how I'll get to it, but I'll reference it a little bit. But I was looking at the German episode. You remember that German episode?
Yeah, Van that was in that was in the German clothing and stuff.
Yeah. Uh, that episode, and I think that's in season 2, so we don't have to.
Yeah, that's season 2.
But I'll still talk about it a little bit. That episode's directed by a white woman, which was interesting.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know, and I didn't know that until I was like, this episode is kind of strange. And I was just like looking up all the German stuff, trying to figure out more about it, and I was like, what? And that was interesting. She was like, I don't know if I was. She told Donald Glover, I don't know if I'm perfect for this show, and he was like, we all don't know what we're doing around here. Come on. But yeah. So yeah, let's talk about this first episode here a little bit. Let's get a move on. God dang it. I'm the one. I'm talking too much myself. Also, it's just mainly me. Anyway, god dang it. So first of all, I wanted his name, Ernest Marks. So on the nose. He's like literally just trying to earn his marks.
Yeah.
He's homeless, has a daughter, and can't commit to Van for some reason. I think
some crazy reason.
Yeah, that is something I'm always sort of wondering about. Like, Van is like, she wants him, but he's just not there yet for some reason.
Yeah, he's trying to get I think he's just trying to get his professional life together, then trying to worry about all that, but also like since he has a kid with her, he's like in the back of his head, he's like already got her, not quote unquote, but bagged out. So he's like, they have a daughter together. When you have a daughter with someone, there's always going to be a connection between them in some way. The mother and the father, there's always going to be a connection. So that's probably, and also men are just stupid. He's a young man.
Yeah. But also I do see I see both their points. Like, on one hand, he was like, because that one episode we're jumping around a little bit, but it all leads to this thing. This thinking, when he was taking her out and he was just spending too much money.
Oh yeah.
But in that restaurant. Yeah, and in that show, in that little discussion, they were talking about like how he just wants to sort of pursue this dream so he could potentially make all this money, which is valid, and we actually eventually do see sort of it pay off and whatever.
Yep.
But she is also like, well, what about me and my dreams, and also I also have to do this, and like she's a mother all the time, whereas he is actively getting to choose when to pop in.
Yeah,
sometimes.
He's in, it's crazy. And even his parents, and it was like, Ernest is he's like, his character is I feel like me in real life and his character are kind of very relatable because he's very stubborn. He like wants to do things that has a vision. He wants to accomplish it in his way, and that's kind of like for me. I'm very stubborn at times, and I'm like I have a vision of how I want to accomplish it. I'm very set in my way, so that's how I kind of relate to Ern, and yeah. But like going back to that first episode, I like how the end of the first episode goes right to the second episode because it's like and then what's the name? Who plays? What's Paperboy's best friend's name?
Like Keith Stanfield. But his character.
Name.
I'm looking. Darius.
Yeah, Darius is like Darius. I mean, it's like the whole deja vu in the dream, and it was just. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to get into that for a second. You're going to be annoyed, and this is why I encourage you so hard to watch Twin Peaks, Chico.
Yeah, I'll get to it.
Now here's the thing. Here's the problem. Well, I won't call it a problem, but I could see why it is very white. I'll say that. It is like the most. I don't even want to say, but it's interesting though. It's
cult classic.
Not just cult classic. I think it like hit. I mean, like in a racial sense, literally specifically, like when Don Glover set out to make Atlanta, he said, "I want to make Twin Peaks with rappers," but his execution of it, I think, is actually very close to how David Lynch did the actual Twin Peaks. Like, David Lynch is an extremely white guy. And so, like, all these weird microcosms of the whiteness as portrayed in Twin Peaks is kind of to the 11. And Donald Glover is doing the same thing with blackness, basically, with Atlanta. like all the weird little microcosms in his own experience,
Yeah.
and then turning those up to 11. Uh, and that's what makes it extra relatable, but also extra weird. And on top of that, one extra layer is, uh, he's like a. I think Donald Glover has always talked about this complicated relationship between him and blackness because he's like perceived to be like.
He's like, yeah, he's like he's not really considered like ghetto.
Right.
Growing up in projects, he's from Atlanta. He was born and raised in Atlanta, but I don't think he was born in like the Zone 6 or the worst parts of Atlanta. But he still like references Atlanta, like the culture of Atlanta. He's all Atlanta.
And also, I think he did actually go to Princeton, and I think it was Princeton. So
I
like,
believe it if he did.
and there is this sort of complicated relationship, I think, with I think a lot of people of color from more urban neighborhoods who do actually like go to college and all that stuff, and then are forced to come back to where they came from. Like everybody is sort of looking at them like, wait, like. First of all, if you went to college, what the fudge are you doing here? And secondly, oh, so you think you know everything, Mr. College Man. Meanwhile, you're broke also. Which is a funny, interesting idea. Which I relate to a heavenly, like a whole bunch, for sure.
And it's also how he references something happened at Princeton, which caused him to. Something happened, and he like references like you never know the story of what happened, and he doesn't really talk about it much. So yeah, also that aspect of it too, but yeah.
I think it was.
Angles he attacks, different angles and stuff.
Well, I also think they do act. This is why I'm so excited to watch even further because I think there are things. Because even towards the later seasons, when Earn basically picks on this middle-aged white woman for some, I don't even remember why. They basically ruins her entire life or something, just because. Like, maybe she said something racist maybe one time, and then she was, like, found out where she worked, and then made up this whole fake scenario or whatever. It was effed up. I think...
reminds me of the Justin Bieber episode in season 1 where he meets that, yeah.
So, that's why I liked about the Justin Bieber episode, is it's basically saying, if Justin Bieber were black, this is what it would look like.
Exactly, though. That Justin Bieber episode was so funny because then at the end of the episode, it was like it doesn't matter what I do. I was like, bro, if like you listen to the lyrics of what he said and after that press conference, they got into the fight. I was just like, man, because when it was like, oh, like the first time I seen him, he was like, oh shit, that's Justin Bieber, and it was a black dude. I was like, wait. I was like, hey, yo, this guy's kind of funny for that one.
When I saw that, I was so confused. I was like, could they not get Justin Bieber? Like, I was thinking of it like that. I was like, what was it? Why did they do this? And they do this all the time. They do it like, it's crazy. First of all, the cameos, the fake cameos that they'll just cast some whoever, and then the other cameos that are like, they really got that person? It's really
like, he really had the Migos in the first season.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And I was like, what the heck? And
I really think he really do be tapped into the culture. It's like he's not like doing it to like take advantage. He's like really there for like the culture of Atlanta, which is especially in the South. Like Atlanta's like one of those places. Cause I remember when I went to Atlanta for spring break, and there was like remember it was in the first season when he was he tried to do a come up off selling his phone, and Darius he got this whole little adventure with Darius, and that's how we became friends. And like when he was going to that place to get this, when he got the sword from the pawn shop, that song that was playing in the OG Mount, that song, the first time hearing that was when I was in Atlanta for spring break. And it was one of those SoundCloud Dat Piff, like one of those days. So it was just like the way he just tied in everything. I know we're just jumping episode to episode, but it's just so good. Like literally so good.
That is
how he does it. His character.
I actually kind of liked these comparisons between Justin Bieber and what Al is having to do, because at the end of the first episode, Al is basically involved in this shooting.
Yep.
And because of that, it basically skyrockets his career pretty much. It basically gets the ball rolling for him for real. All after that shooting. And he's constantly having to reckon with how he is perceived and how much he wants to lean into that perception.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to create the balance. He wants to be authentic, but he also, yeah. I knew
Man.
exactly what you're saying. Cause like, yeah, going back to the first episode, I was like, bro, the deja. I was like, cause remember it was like they had like when it first starts, like it just pans to him in his car and like he gets the mirror kicked and everything. They have the whole little escalation. Then it like pans out to like you get the aerial view of what happened. You see the
Mm.
gunshot. Then it goes like Ern. It's like the dream Ern had apparently. He wakes up, Ern's in. I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? And then was like when Ern is on. Remember at the beginning, he's like the Darius pointed out the dog, and then when Ern was on the bus home, when he had his daughter, and there was this random dude who
Yeah.
came up
Oh.
on the bus.
Oh.
Then when
Dude.
he got off the bus, the dog was right next to. I was like, bro, hey, what is going on? This is the crazy shit. Right
That's
here.
another thing. That guy with the Nutella sandwich.
Yeah.
So that guy is another Twin Peaks reference.
Oh, what?
Yes. There is a bald guy in Twin Peaks who basically appears out of nowhere and gives the main character a glass of milk or something. But
Wow.
this guy is giving him a Nutella sandwich, and he says it will solve all your problems. And we don't see him take it, but I do wonder if he did take it.
I don't.
Because
I
then
think that-
immediately after that is when everything starts to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
I'm just saying, man.
No, I'm not gonna eat that.
I don't know though. Like his hands look clean. He's bald. Bald people seem clean.
Here and there, I guess you could say that. But yeah, I was like, bro, this shit is funny. Because then when I seen the dog, I was like, wait, what? And then the first episode leads right to the second episode, and the frame like some of the funny scenes from like them being in jail and like when one of the people who was in holding and stuff with, because Al got out pretty soon after they got arrested on bail. Turned out to be there a little bit longer through the whole episode, and the random dude who was talking to the girl. His old friend who turned out to be a
trans
man,
woman,
just like a woman. It was just all that famous.
I thought that was so interesting. That entire scene was interesting.
Man, that whole episode was pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, it was effed up because they were just like, I don't know, they were saying like actual prison facts, or not prison, but like holding facts, I guess, or like when you're just in jail for the night or whatever.
Yeah, that's how I should be like, for real.
Man, it's so effed up. Let me see here. I'm looking at this thing.
You think I'm gay? I ain't with all that.
Exactly. That's the part that I thought was interesting. It was like, at first he was trying to basically get back in connection with her because he didn't even think about where he was.
Yeah.
And then, but that's the funny part. He was basically trying to get back with her, and then only after everybody else was talking about it, that's when he was like,
he didn't even move. He was like, no, you ain't got to move. You go right there. I would have just left. Ern just being Ern and being like the
that's
kind of person he is. He's like, I can move. He's like, I'm not trying to be in this. He was just trying to get out. He wasn't trying to be in the middle of nothing, but he just seemed to kept getting put in the middle of it, and it was just.
That's pretty much how I feel all the time, every day. Something's going on. I don't want to be involved, but somehow I am, and then I'm just going to
leave me alone. Let me be.
Yeah. I'm trying.
It was also like the dude who was always in the jail, like the guards that was always laughing at him because he was I guess he had some kind of mental issues and stuff. And it was all funny until it wasn't funny because like they was laughing at him when he was just walking around acting like he had something was going on with him, but they didn't really care because it was like I guess he's been in there so many times. It's just like they just start to brush him off, and then it was laughing at him until they got some like the water from the toilet and started drinking it, and then he spit it towards the white guard officer. And after he did that, everybody stopped laughing and they started beating him. I was like, damn, this is kind of fucked up.
So
like give him some help.
That was one aspect.
Help not being in a jail, he like needs mental help.
Seriously, and that's one part that really kind of was effed up because I was at work the other day. I was having a conversation with somebody, and they talked about how he used to work at a convenience store, and there was this crazy guy who's like probably like on some sort of drugs or whatever, and like the guy was messing with him. A cop came by and basically beat the fudge out the guy, and then the cop was like, "You saw him resisting, didn't you?" And he's like, "Yeah, I sure did." And I was just like, and I went like, I understand. I feel bad because like the other guy was like trying to basically relate about like a scary time at a convenience store or whatever. But I'm also just like, I mean, I get that it's a scary situation, but maybe don't aid in the police brutality or whatever.
Exactly.
I think it might have been this episode when, so after Al gets out, uh, I think it's in this episode. He's like walking home or whatever, and these kids are playing around with some water guns, and they're like because of Paperboy, and Paperboy walks up and he's like, "Oh hey, guns aren't cool or whatever."
Like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, and so the mom was scolding them about the guns at first, but then when she finds out that it's Paperboy.
Yeah, the attitude change. I'm like, wow. I'm like, wow.
And she
that's exactly how it be though. Until they'll hear your name, but they don't know the face of the name, and then they just realize who you is. It's like, it's just really that's how the old attitude. They're like, they be quick to they think someone's famous. They hear them on the radio, and it's like the whole attitude. They go for telling them, "Why are you talking to my kids? So let me get a picture with you."
Exactly, and she's basically scolding her kids for playing with guns. And their kids are saying they're playing with guns because of Paperboy, but then forget about those morals when it's like, oh wait, the famous guy right here? Okay.
Yeah, let me get a picture.
Yeah.
Let me get a picture from Facebook.
So crazy. And that of a rapper, I think is a complex, like that is a super complex situation to be in because and I think even Kendrick Lamar mentioned one time in one of his songs like, he hates when he raps about guns because then people die or whatever and all that. It was in one of the Drake ones.
Yeah. It's a whole, what's they say? It's a whole, like dealing with, especially as being a hip hop artist and you try to keep and maintain of getting famous and getting clean money versus also like how you came up in the world and sometimes just choices in the situations we grew up in. And yeah, it's called a trap for a reason, and let's not get into all that. But yeah, it's the whole complex thing, especially as I feel like mostly just hip hop artists because a lot of times they grew up in poorest conditions, and yeah, so.
But that's the thing, then there's that it's because Al is a drug dealer. He does have guns, but I wouldn't necessarily say he was going out shooting people or gangbanging or anything.
He's just trying to survive, man.
He was just trying to survive. And he's making the music. He's being an artist or whatever. And even if you think about and this is another reference to a later episode with that that Get That Dance or whatever, or some dance he did. He's a goofball at times. He just did a stupid YouTube video in the middle of his come up or whatever, just trying to just do crazy things or whatever.
Trying to make a little bit of money.
But then,
what were you gonna say?
You go ahead.
Now, I was gonna say, speaking of, because the Van and Al connection was remember, and Van was looking for Al to find a way to beat the drug test.
Yes.
With a friend the day before, and then right after towards the end of the episode, she was just, and when Al asked how did everything go with trying to get some of the stuff to beat the test, and she was like, fine, and she was like, let me get an A. Yeah. I was like, girl, get off my phone. He's so messed. Because he's trying to not, he doesn't like people watching his airwaves and watching him text and stuff and watching his phone.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's just so funny. That was just so funny. Because I could see because when I was talking about it on the phone, he was on the same type of, like, girl, that's not me, what are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
He called her, and I was watching this episode yesterday. It was so funny. Because Al was just a perfect, I like the perfect representation of Paperboy. I like him. I like him as an actor, so he pretty, that was some good stuff right there.
It's funny how he has to maintain the image of doing the illegal things, but also still do the illegal things secretly. It's such a weird little thing. I'm looking at the Migos episode again.
Because the whole meat setup and everything when Darius got he was like, we ain't some bad brown paper bag. We trying to be professional. So he had to lock his wrist to
The
suitcase and
suitcase.
everything got and left the kid at his apartment, and then it ended up all being good because I was just like, bro, they can just take the money out of the suitcase anyways. But it was just a whole funny thing. It was like at the end it was like, yeah, we the Migos, and it was four of them, but I don't know who the fourth one was, but the Hispanic guy came and he recognized Paperboy and everything. It was like, yeah, we the Migos. I was like, wow.
I think it's heavily implied they were going to kill that fourth Migo, though. That makes, like, when I watched...
Yeah, because like that, he's definitely not gonna make it. That fourth guy, he's definitely not gonna make it. And then that just reminded me of the when they went on the date.
Yeah.
Because this is like, man, this is like the small details for me in this show. Because like after him and Van went on the date episode where he really didn't have any money, and it was like that was the same episode when they were trying to do the little deal with the Migos, the actual Migos, the rap group. And he had called them asking for $20 because he was getting overcharged in the restaurant and everything. And he was like, yeah, I got you. And he was like, how's the deal going? Blah, blah, blah. But anyway, that was not what I was when they got back home and Ern got that champagne bottle. And then he was like, oh, man, champagne is nasty. And then at the ending credits of the song was Spray the Champagne by the Migos. So I was just like, I liked how he did that. I was like, hey, that's some great attention to detail right there. It's like the perfect placement for that song. And it's a great way to end the episode. I was like, hey, man, this guy right here, he's good. He's good. Before, I'm on season, because I started rewatching the whole show. I'm on season 2 now, but I went to go back to watch to refresh my memory for season 1, and I was like, yeah. It's good. I'm really going to have to get to, eventually, Twin Peaks, but yeah, this is a great representation for it to be the Black Twin Peaks, so... Yeah.
So here, the next episode after that was the Streisand effect. You know, and it talked about this guy Zan. You remember Zan?
Yeah.
That very racially ambiguous. Like nobody knows what the heck he is. Guy. He's like he said it taking it. He's like just trying to like how Paperboy's trying to just make money of what he go through. Zan's the same way. He's just like. He's all social media connected. He's like recording everything. Mm-hmm.
Something trying to make. He's just trying to keep getting his name out there, YouTubes and all that. He doesn't care what the he's just doing it because it's just the hustle for it. And he's just trying to make money like everybody else, trying to get a little bag. So I was like, I kind of hated him, but also I kind of respected it. Like that was a whole crazy episode in itself too. Because Paperboy, he was just really just baiting Paperboy, and I was just like, yeah.
There was one part when. You know, he has his partner, the little kid, and they're doing that delivery, and then the kid gets robbed.
And he's just recording the kid. I'm just like, wow.
But here's the thing. With that scene, I am like, before I used to keep watching it like the kid actually got robbed. But this time, watching it, I was thinking the entire thing was set up from when Al got in the car. Like, when Al gets in the car, the kid was gonna go, and I bet you the person who, quote-unquote, robbed him actually was part of the entire thing also.
Yeah.
Like, everything in Zan's life is
set up,
Yeah.
That's a good point. Because I was like, maybe it was I thought it was an actual robbery, and I was just like, and then he was just like, I'm gonna just get it because, like, it's just gonna just to get some more traction and views and stuff. Because that's really, I feel like that's the main thing Zen is doing for, like I said, the views and making merch and stuff. Like he caught them outside the club at the beginning. He was just trying to. He's like, let me get a picture. You want this hat? And I'm like, no, but Darius ended up taking the hat, and it's funny. And then when the kid started, like he was like, he had a non-explicit line the kid said, and then he had a very explicit ass line. He kept saying, I was like, hey, yo,
yeah,
beep 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 beep. I was like, hey,
and just kept going. Oh, but also the Streisand effect is it's an actual. I don't know. It's some sort of thing. It's like some sort of phrase. I want to look up what that is because I think it's probably a reference to something. I know it's a reference to Barbra Streisand. So unintended consequences of trying to hide information. So it's like if you try to hide the information, it becomes even more popular because you're trying to hide it, as opposed to if you just let it fly. So that was the episode. That was the Zan episode. After that one was the Bieber episode, which we kind of already talked about, really. Oh yeah, but there was one aspect of that episode I did think that was interesting when Darius goes to the shooting range,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and I thought that was such an
That was
interesting.
funny, very funny.
Yeah,
It wasn't like yeah, it was like I don't know get what was they trying to do by that, but it was funny because like I was like all I feel is me I was like bro mind your business bro, you shoot what you shoot. I'm not advocating for shooting animals, but I was like I didn't get with it. It was funny though.
but Darius makes a valid point, and I think this is what Darius does he does this on purpose. He basically likes being a little disruptor to people sometimes.
Oh yeah, facts. Because remember the Michael Jackson episode.
Yeah, the "You Mad" hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of those episodes. He's always Darius is that again goes against the sticking to the man. He's off the grid type. He's that guy. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And he is making a valid point of like, well, isn't it more messed up they shoot a human than a dog? Like, it is effed up to shoot a dog for sure, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I don't know. It's
like,
illegal. Like you go to jail.
Dad poster. Yeah.
Like if you shoot a dog in real life, you'll probably be fined. I don't know if you actually legit go to jail. If it's someone else's dog, but there's like a random dog, as opposed to if you shoot a human, you're going to prison. You know what I mean?
Unless it's like self-defense.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
I think that's probably the argument the white people in the episode was making or not trying to say it. But it was that was funny. It was like, bro, and then the people who came up behind them, she was like, it happened. They also be brown people.
Yeah.
Indian and Middle Eastern. I don't want to generalize because I couldn't tell.
I feel like they seem more Middle Eastern-y, which seemed.
Yeah, I was like, this is just a white versus black thing. I was like, everybody just mind their own business, man. If you're shooting it when you shoot, we shoot it, we shoot.
But I also wonder how Darius felt about them being on his side. Like, because at that point, that's what got him kicked out. Yeah. At that point.
Yeah, then the owner came in. Then he tried to go back to get the poster. I was like, oh, yeah, he's definitely...
Yeah. That was just him trying to mess. This episode when Van goes out with her friends. Is that... Wait, that's not the... Hold on, I'm getting this confused. I always get kind of all the Vanessa with her friends episodes kind of mixed up. Because, like, all her episodes are usually about her hanging out with her friends somewhere. Like
this one is this is the same one where she had to do the drug test the next day.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I do remember. Okay.
It kind of leads up to that.
I think the last episode of season 2 I had just watched was the Drake one, which ironically they went to Drake's house, which I forgot.
Drake party, that was funny.
Yeah.
Drake's Mexican.
Okay, so now we're at the BAN Black American Network episode with the Montague.
Oh, that's what that stood for.
Yeah.
BAN is a term for another not so nice term.
What? Go ahead, you say it. Whatever it is.
It's
if it's terrible, I'll cut it out.
It's bitch ass nigga.
That's actually funny. That's probably on purpose. That's certainly on purpose.
It's definitely on purpose.
That is funny.
And it's like they're on Montague and they're talking about the concept. It's just like with layered greatness. Because when you said Black America Network, Black America News or something,
yeah.
What did you say?
Black American Network is what it says on here.
Yeah, Black American. Yeah, that's great.
That is hilarious.
What are your thoughts on that episode overall?
I love the entire... First of all, this is probably the first, like... They had some weird moments, like the invisible car and, like, the deja vu moment, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
But this is probably the first time that they go maximum strange.
Oh, yeah. They go crazy.
Yeah. And they even bring...
I want your full thoughts.
They even bring back the Nutella sandwich guy... And he has, like, infomercials. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dang, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the voice. Oh.
Because, like, there's these infomercials where they'll be like, oh, my life was ruined, but then I had a Nutella sandwich or whatever, and something like, my life was fixed. And then he's like, "Oh, come over here and eat this Nutella sandwich." Blah 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 blah. And I wish they did more with him. I wish they brought him back in every season, just so like he was like just that weird guy. Uh,
Yeah.
Also, so I love the whole setup is interesting. Like, so it's called Montague. It's kind of like a fake Charlie Rose situation in a way. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like a discussion platform show. They're bringing on Al to basically argue with this trans rights activist. Even though Al is basically like, I wasn't even talking about trans people. I'm not even talking about gay people even. And they just sort of, it's just manufactured controversy basically is the whole point of the episode.
Facts. And the dude who's hosted it, he's really just stirring the pot.
Yes. And anytime there's a certain point before they get, it's before they even show I think it's before they show the transracial guy. They get.
Oh yeah, yep.
They actually get to an agreement, and he's like, "Oh well, whatever."
Facts.
Freedom of
And
speech.
then the transracial guy just like pans. Oh, we're gonna go to commercial.
So yeah, so
like that.
what I loved about that episode, and also I do think it is interesting what Don Glover is toying with this episode, because like I do think it is trying to touch the discussion of transgender stuff in general, but I also think I don't know what he's trying to say necessarily about it. I think it's interesting.
Idea.
Okay, what do you think?
I think it's more just like because America isn't like, because you can be trans people and you can be whatever you want to be. Whatever makes you happy. I go crazy, but it's like I guess not to be too political, but like black people and trans people, they say like trans people have more rights than black people, especially nowadays with all the social commentary and all the preclusion and stuff for trans people, and they're just like, there's more. They probably like have more in common in terms of trying to be accepted and stuff. I don't know. I'll have something more.
I have one idea, one angle, but it's also probably not a great sounding angle.
Spill it.
All right.
I did, so you did too.
I'm going to cut out anything. Well, I'll try, but who knows? They'll get mad about anything.
We're looking for controversy.
So, like, I think there's an idea of, and this is it's spicy, but the idea of what white people are allowed to do versus what black people are allowed to do.
Yeah, I can see
and
that.
The idea of like mental health issues. Let's start there. I think there's like this one great comedian, I forget which one, but he had a joke of like, oh, black people are depressed now. Like, just the whole notion of now black people can get to acknowledge mental health.
You can have that diagnosis. Back then, you couldn't have that diagnosis.
Exactly. And so like the idea, and maybe he's kind of touching the idea of, and maybe he's not even trying to bully trans people specifically in general, but there was that one woman who was like trying to be transracial, like she's basically making herself a black woman and she's part of the NAACP, a white woman.
I didn't know that was a real thing.
That's a real thing that happened. I might see. I'm gonna click. They had the word transracial on here. I'm gonna click it and hopefully she'll come up very soon, so I don't have to go too far. Rachel Dolezal, yeah. So she was born to white parents, but successfully passed as black to the extent that she took over leadership of the Spokane branch of the NAACP in 2014, before she was outed.
Spokane in?
What?
Spokane, like, what? Do you know what state that is? Or no?
I have no idea.
There's just a random question.
That's more. Wait. Well, I could just click her. I'm a clicker. If you click her, yeah, she does kind of look like a
Kevin Samuels episode.
Kevin Samuels?
Yeah, in a few seasons, he's a few seasons down. We had the dude whose dad was black, but he didn't look black. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Seasons, yeah.
We gotta hurry up and get a move on. But a couple more things on this episode. The Dodge Charger.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna allude to. Like the Dodge Charger ads and the the Swisher
The
Sweets
Swisher
ad, and
Sweets.
yeah,
So
then
The Swisher Sweets one. That's an interesting one. So this show came out. Oh, I don't know how much I want to say. I'll just say this: when this show came out, I did not understand that Swisher Sweets commercial.
oh wow.
So when I
I think
first,
because everybody smokes Swishers is what they were saying there.
but after that, well, sometime after that, as college went forward, I got the joke after that. But that just goes to show how effing uh, un-
Smokers, no.
uncultured I was at the time. I'll say. Uh, what else?
Hey, did you ever catch the reference between the elevator music?
the elevator music?
Yeah, to the elevator music on Montague and some elevator music on another show. One of
Oh,
their TV shows.
what other TV show?
Take a guess. He's biracial.
Oh no! Oh, what stinking what? Oh, Eric Andre.
Yeah,
Shut the heck
your
up!
favorite.
Shut the heck up!
that theme elevator. That's also on the Eric Andre. We'll be right back. And I like that. That's just an extra little nugget that I liked.
But yeah, god dang it. I guess the last thing about the transracial thing is the idea of not only is he's a black guy trying to be a middle-aged white guy, but then
Yeah.
he's taking on the ideologies of the middle-aged white guy as well. So he doesn't like gay people. So that's a fun thing. The idea of being transracial, but not liking gay people or like anything involved in that community. That's an interesting concept. Although I guess in some ways it makes sense because it's not sexuality, but also that just makes it.
He does not his sexual preference just like the race he is.
Yeah, but I think that blows it even wider open. Like it's even crazier. It's like, well, then what does that even mean? Like, it breaks down like, well, then what's. And I think actually that's an interesting idea, and that's an even bigger discussion in the sense of like, if transgenderness is like breaking down, I don't know, our societal norms of like what we think of what genders are.
Yeah, like
Transracialness would break. It would force you to really break down what a race is.
Yeah.
Which is it's an interesting idea. Like it forces you to
concepts on labels in today's day and age and all that good. Yeah.
Which I mean that's a valid discussion. Which is a fun idea.
Also, I remember. You remember the speaking of like the Charger and the Switcher Sweets. There was also it was like they was in a like a what's it called, suit and tie, and the mask where you don't see each other's faces, those type of formal dances. That one, and it was they was making champagne, malt liquor look like champagne and stuff. He was at the bar. It was like that, and it was like at the end it was drinking something. It was malt liquor like in the 40 ounce. They was making it advertising it like it was champagne, and it was just like, and at the end it was just like Maltus, you're drinking it malt liquor, you're drinking it wrong. Because it's like I feel like those are just like 40 ounces when people get from the neighborhood gas station 40-ounce beer, and you just that with the Swisher Sweets is like what happens in the black community.
Oh,
I was like the way they tie that all together. I was like, hey man, that's.
But even what that's even more interesting idea. Like, or even if you think about the kids commercial for the cereal, like they had like it was kind of like Cookie Crisp and Trix pretty much put together. It's like this dog who is dressed up as a mummy trying to get these cocoa, I don't remember, some sort of cereal, and a cop effing is like, you can't have any of that cereal, that's only for children. And the kids are like, well, you've definitely had this cereal and you ain't no kid. And they all have a standoff. I think these commercials are kind of like the idea of like in modern day society, a whole bunch of our media and even our commercials are like white leaning and for white people. And it made examples of commercials that were like, if they were commercials actually made by and for black people, what would they maybe look like?
Yeah, exactly. I think, yeah.
Because, like, I don't know, just even like the idea of the Swishers commercial, that could actually be. I feel like that one specifically could have been a real commercial because they didn't.
Definitely.
They don't even have to say, and like they didn't say marijuana. They just
Yeah,
did. You
nothing
just
at
saw
all.
them do it.
Oh, yeah, they had all different people, kind of people using the different types of people using the switchers. A group of friends, just a dude by himself.
Mm-hmm.
He brought out the knife. He's like, yeah, some good, man, very good dialogue.
Yeah.
Like he wouldn't be bringing things up. He's like, man, just make you want to talk about him.
Yeah. So next up is the club. What all you want to say about the club? I just liked. It's basically just dissecting the club culture.
Yeah, going out and getting a section. You gotta, in order to have a good time, you gotta get a section and get a whole lot of liquor. I'm like, yeah, f that. I'll be in the general. And I think that was at a strip club, right? Yeah.
No, well, this one was the. Well, it was just a dance club that Al was paid to just hang out
to
at.
go to.
Yeah.
And Ern was trying to get to pay him.
And he kept getting dodged because he had like trap doors and everything.
Bro, the last one where you lean against the wall. Because he was like, yeah, keep. When he got lost in the crowd, I was like, okay, that happens. But I could tell he was dodging, getting paid, and everything from the beginning. But then, like, that really put it over he told us he was doing it on purpose when he leaned against the wall. And just
it's like a Batman trap door. Like, man,
ain't that the one with the dude outside when they get outside with the dude with the invisible?
Yeah, and that's the invisible car. But notice they didn't start like I said, they did do the Nutella sandwich guy, but after the BAN episode, that's when they got kind of more crazy. Like the invisible car, like people get ran over by it. It's insane.
That was like, wow.
When I saw that, I was really like, what is this show exactly?
Yeah, and I think to they talked like Darius showed them the Instagram picture of the dude, and Ern wasn't buying it. And I wasn't even buying it until I seen that other thing. I was like, hey, yo, what is going on? That's a real car. That shit was funny. That was funny.
All right, this episode we gotta talk a bit about the Juneteenth episode.
Juneteenth one? Oh man, yeah.
That episode is actually quietly starting to become one of my more favorite episodes.
That's when I just like, hey, we're going off the deep end. We're just going for it, and it's like, I was like, look, because I rewatching, I realized, oh, that's the new Aunt Viv.
It is. It is. I thought she looked familiar this time around. I was like,
I recognize her. Like that face seems familiar. Yeah, she's Aunt Viv on Bel Air. And I was like, oh, wow. So that's been like, this is probably where she first started to get one of her major big breaks. Because I don't remember seeing her in a lot of stuff. But yeah, just that whole episode, like, the name of it was Juneteenth. Like, they was going to some crazy function. I guess it was to help Lottie, right?
So, yeah, so Van, I think, was trying to go to this place to get in with some folks to better her life in some way. I don't know if it's like to get a job opportunity or if it was to just like be part of this club of rich people that could maybe help them socially. I never really understood because I think this is after the drug. Yeah, this is after she got fired or whatever probably. So I'm not quite sure. But the point is Van and Ern basically have to pretend to be together, like more together than they are at the moment, to go to this function, and everything just sort of falls apart in different ways. What I love about this is it's thrown by a rich white guy.
Exactly. It just makes it even more funnier. A white guy he knows what he's talking about, but he just wants to. Yeah.
He's probably the best, one of the most complex, interesting characters there is to the whole thing because he is obsessed with the African culture to probably like scholarly level. Like he could probably teach a class about it level.
Yeah, I think. Yep.
He's been to Africa probably multiple times. He's even to like Ern. He's like, "What? You've never been to Africa?" Which that is the sort of tone deafness that some people have, especially I think some off white people when they just sort of.
Let me ask you one question before I forget really quick. Mm-hmm. When you remember when they was walking throughout his office and stuff, Did you know Childish Gambino makes music? Did you notice like the album cover the dude had the rich white
Yeah,
dude
the
had?
Redbone,
Yeah,
and that was
yeah.
I think that was before it even came out too, or it might have been
I
around the
don't
same
know. That
time.
maybe or around the same time. Yeah, because that's like one of the most famous Gambino songs, and he's not even really rapping in that song. It's just like the whole album covering like this Gambino as an artist, and I was just like, hey man, that's I like that little reference there. Just a little small nugget I was appreciating. But yeah, go back to what you were saying.
Yeah,
My bad.
but yeah, so he's throwing the stinking thing. He loves Africa, but Ern is like, well, I don't really know anything about my ancestry because of the slavery, all this
Yeah,
jazz,
slavery.
and it's just this interesting idea of like. And I also think it's an interesting idea of like what can white people do? Like
Yeah,
even a rich white person with this guy's means, which I'm sure based on what you sort of pick up on based on the white guy and his wife's relationship is like the wife is with him for his money and also they are able to probably presumably uh philanthropize a lot in like
yeah,
black things and all that stuff.
yeah,
And Van and her have a discussion of like the men you should be going after and
yeah,
what it means
yeah.
to and I think it's just an interesting idea.
Yeah,
Uh,
you also went to, and I want to expand on that idea. You know how like on this episode it's the white guy with the black wife, but usually I feel like it's also a social commentary on how nowadays it's more socially acceptable, like mixed interracial relationships and stuff. It's usually the black guy and the white girl, or something like. It's not always,
well,
but it's like I feel like that's the stereotype
it's
now.
interesting you say that though. So like,
Huh?
it's interesting you say that though because I think on Double Toasted, Corey Coleman makes the argument a lot that in media, it's usually, especially in movies, you only ever get to see a. It's starting to rain. Oh my god! You only ever get to see like a black. I'm trying to get it straight in my head. Yeah, black woman with a white man is in movies, but in real life, it is more the other way around. I think. Uh,
Yeah.
and so a good example of this is in I don't know, and you don't like Star Wars, but it's a perfect example. So there was this newest Star Wars movie. It had like this black guy played by God dang it! I just had it and I lost it. He's in the dang it. Oh, he was in the stinking. He was in Attack the Block. You ever see that
John
movie?
Boyega.
Yes, John Boyega. Yes,
Okay. Okay.
yes, it was John Boyega. So John Boyega and Daisy Ridley. In the first movie, they sort of set up like, ooh, is this like a potential romance? And then the preceding two movies does everything in its power to make sure you don't see them even come close together ever again.
Yeah.
Which is just an interesting idea. Uh,
Yeah.
and I think it is interesting just to see interracial relationships in anything at all, especially between a black person and a white person. Like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. That's
Yeah.
like we don't
They
get that
were.
often, and that's very rare.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know, but I do see what you're saying there. There is definitely what we do see of racial relationships, especially in popular media, is very deliberate and
Yeah, it's
purposeful.
very, very deliberate. I mean, you see it on commercials now. Like
Yeah,
the mixed people, even though, yeah.
but I also think it's interesting, like how tough it would have been to get a bunch of interracial relationships going on TV. But meanwhile, we have a whole bunch of ethnically ambiguous people sort of popping off. Like I think of Zendaya. It's like, what is Zendaya?
Yeah.
Or uh, but yeah. Oh, but so one part I also liked was at the end of the Juneteenth episode, the wife is like chewing them out for some reason, basically insulting Ern, calling him like a bunch of kind of racist slurs, kinda, but it's her saying it,
Yeah.
and the white guy is acting offended on his. He's apologizing for his wife to Ern. It's like I'm so
Yeah.
sorry she's
It's,
acting
it's
like
like
this.
a whole, yeah. Yeah, everyone's calling him out for like being fake and stuff, and yeah, it was just a very good clash of ideas and how they're two different perspectives and stuff. I was like, yeah,
Yeah, I think it's like very interesting idea of like how the black the black woman wife is looking at Ern kind of dismissively, how the white guy is trying to relate to Ern, and also just all of it. Yeah, it's just a crazy combination of a bunch of different things just blowing off at the same time.
Yeah, and also I don't remember because I haven't made it to that episode. But it's like when Van and they go talking outside. I don't know if the husband was with them, but yeah, they stepped out into the porch or something. It's sometime during the party, and I don't remember exactly what they was talking about, but it alludes to what you were saying about like their relationship and how they should view themselves in a relationship and what their roles and this and that and
Yeah, and the black. I keep saying the black wife, which I'm not trying. I just don't remember their names in the episode.
yeah, I get you.
But
I don't think I didn't even know her name myself.
But she basically, the Aunt Viv, she was basically saying like, yeah, I get that my guy is strange, but the resources are useful for the community. Yeah. And I do think,
I think he's in the end of the day. I think he's a sincere white. I think he's sincere, even though sometimes tries too hard. But I think it comes out of maybe I don't know. Do you think he's sincere with her, or do you think it's a facade?
Well, I think either or, we want more of him, regardless. But I do think he is sincere for sure. Myself.
You remember the name of his real name of like I think I might have seen his face on other shows. I don't know for sure though. That's why I need to get his name.
I'm clicking the episode. Gosh darn it. Let me see. Rick Holmes is the actor. Smaller actor. I'm not sure. He's been in things. He has one of those faces that's just like he kind of looked like a couple other white guys I've seen on TV. Exactly. Like you ever see Pineapple Express? Mm-hmm. Kind of looked like the villain in that. Oh yeah. Hold on, I gotta turn my camera back on again. Oh. Okay, we're almost done. We only got a couple episodes left. Like one more episode after this, but yeah. I also like I don't remember all the drink names, but they're like. Oh, I gotta see if I can find all the Juneteenth.
Oh yeah, because Ern was just trying when he went to the bar. He was just trying to get a regular. It was like you had to get certain drinks, and Ern was getting mad at that.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm gonna try to see if I get one drink name.
It was because he was just. I think it was one of them was like Crown or Hennessy and something, but he was like, you gotta something specific. Yeah, I gotta rewatch. That one's gonna be like 2 episodes from me now because I'm still in the middle of Montague and rewatch it now. And then there's also the jacket.
Yeah. So the jacket, that episode I kind of like. It's basically kind of like a Hangover, Retrace My Steps episode. Yep. We got 10 minutes. All right, we're gonna make this end in 10 minutes. So yeah, let's just go. We're doing it. We're just gonna talk straight about the jacket. So yeah, basically, he loses his jacket. He can't find it. He's going around the entire day trying to find his jacket. He has to retrace his steps by looking at Snapchat, seeing the videos from the night before, going to the strip club he was at before, ultimately leading to an Uber driver. They find where the Uber driver's house is. It turns out to be an FBI sting or of some sort.
Yep.
And then they end up killing the Uber driver, and he can't even get to his jacket by the end of it.
He doesn't even get it. I'm like, damn.
But at the end of the day, we find out that he wasn't even needing the jacket. He needed this wad of money that he had in the jacket, but he gave it to another friend earlier for safekeeping to make sure he didn't lose it. And he had
smart. Yep.
And his friend was like, "Oh, outsmarted yourself again, Ern." It was just fun.
Yeah, that was just an interesting episode. A very interesting way to eat it, because I thought Juneteenth was the season finale, but the jacket is just a crazy way to end out the first season, which is...
And it ends with him going to sleep in his storage unit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, but actually, you know what's actually... I think there's even more to it than that even, because, like, there's a point in the episode where, at the end of the episode, after he got his money back, he gives Van a decent chunk of money for the rent and whatever, and then she's like, you can stay tonight. And he's like, I'm good. And then he literally just goes to stay at his storage unit instead. Which I thought that was very interesting.
I
because
thought it was
like
like him. He just really just trying to lock in. I think that's just that version of him for like lock in for the next season.
I
I think
do.
after that,
It just shows there is something wrong with like he has some sort of chip on his shoulder.
yeah,
Uh, because like I do think it's just like like she literally was like, you can stay here in this house with me and your daughter, and he chooses to go live in a storage unit. I just think that is interesting. I think there is what I think what I'm trying to get to myself to the bottom of is Ern's like ultimate hang up is basically what I'm trying to get at. And I'm not saying we're going to solve that here. I'm just saying that's sort of what I'm looking at from
yeah. I think
this.
yeah, I think it's just like maybe him not wanting to be in a relationship, or just him he just trying to lock in and get financially where he wants to be, and just with this him managing
I think
getting
that too.
more opportunities so he can make more money, maybe.
Maybe, but also like I think when we get into the future seasons, when they do have everything going on, things are still kind of like I don't think he ever officially chooses Van until like the fourth season.
Yeah, facts. Cause yeah, they even yeah that's top for the second season, but yeah when the yeah
Yeah, so I think that's my angle I'm going at for from now for right now anyway. Anything else you want to say while we got like a couple more minutes left?
back to no. I think if anything, I'll probably just. No, I think we got pretty much everything. I feel like maybe we talked about the had to. Is there anything you want to say about the Juneteenth episode?
I think we got that one pretty good. I think we
Pretty
got
good,
that
yeah.
one.
It was great. I wish we could pull up those drink names, but yeah, that was a very good episode.
I tried. It was just
Rewatch that one. It's a lot. You have to like. It's better to just see it because now when I'm like when I first was watching the first few times, I would like be on my phone here and there. But now I'm like put my phone down. I'm watching this. I'm just trying to catch every little detail, and I was like, that's how I remember the stuff about the first episode with the whole deja vu and everything. I was just like, bro, this is crazy. But yeah, it's just great television, man. Just great. Great. Can't wait to discuss the further seasons and everything. So I really can't wait to talk about the Kevin Samuels one with you. So yeah, it'll be
I do now. I remember. I remember what you're talking about now. Yeah, yeah. I can't wait to get that. See, that's the thing. Oh, season 3
you
is
have a really interesting perspective for that one.
that one's gonna be exciting. But yeah, that's it. I think that's Atlanta season 1, and we'll do season 2 sometime whenever we're done with season 2. I still got.
And then
I'm
we're
still
gonna
in
do
all
Eric
of it.
Andre analysis.
I don't know about all that. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye. Say goodbye. Oh wait.
Adios, amigos.
Oh yeah. All right then. Alrighty.